Have you seen these 15 creepy pics of ghosts caught on camera? Whether or not ghosts are real has been a highly debated topic for as long as humans have been able to debate. Most people believe that ghosts are the souls of the dead left behind to wander the world due to some unresolved business that has yet to be taken care of. Others believe that everyone will eventually turn into a ghost and that our souls haunt whatever area we may die in. No matter what you may believe to be true about ghosts, one thing is for certain: no one exactly knows what a ghost might be because we don't have any evidence that they are, without a doubt, real. In the next 15 photos, however, you might start to believe that the chance of ghosts being real is a bit higher than what you originally thought. Although there's still no proof that ghosts are for sure real, we still have provided some pretty good photographs that help make the case. Of course, with the creation of Photoshop and with how quickly and easily information can be shared over the internet, pictures like these pop up all the time as some people's proof that the house they believe to be haunted is actually haunted. As a result, no one can know for sure if an image or situation is real or fake. Whether or not these next photographs are real is left for you to decide. Here are 15 chilling images taken in real haunted houses. 15. Photobomb from an uninvited guest. When it comes to throwing parties, everyone loves taking group photos to always remember the night. That was the case for this group of friends who decided to snap their wild night. The only thing getting in the way of their ultimate party? The little girl crying in the bottom right of the picture. Her mom stated that during the party, the girl continued to cry over and over again because she had stated that there was another little boy in the house being mean to her. Most parents don't believe when their children start telling stories of ghosts and other strange things, as children often have wild imaginations. However, if you look at the bottom center area of the photograph, in between the legs of the second and third girls in the picture, you can almost make out the shape of a little boy's face. The little girl's parents likely won't be ignoring her fears anymore after seeing a ghostly figure crash their party. 14. Mirror selfie gone wrong. When you're with your best friend, sometimes, things can get a little crazy. That was the case for the two girls in the photograph above who decided to snap a couple of mirror selfies while hanging out alone one night. The key word in that sentence is alone. The two girls stated that they were the only two in the house at the time they took the photograph, but they were clearly wrong. In the reflection, you can very clearly make out a third girl staring right back in the mirror. Imagine having a fun night with your friend, enjoying your time hanging out, only to have it ruined by seeing a third uninvited guest in all of your photographs. It would certainly ruin anyone's good time and make it enough for you to never want to step foot in that house again. 13. An uninvited Easter guest. Like the ones we've previously seen, the photograph above is another case of an uninvited guest making an appearance at someone's house. In the photograph, you can see two girls and a guy, and then their reflections. In the reflection, we have the two girls, the guy, and another body cut in half wearing a red top. These were all the people that were meant to be photographed during an Easter brunch one normal Sunday. The only problem is that the photographer accidentally caught someone else in the reflection in the photo. Aside from the two girls we see in the reflection, there's a third girl, whose face appears to be horrifyingly pale, that can be seen. Everyone at the party claims that this woman in the reflection definitely wasn't at the party and that they have no idea who this woman could be. 12. A guardian angel? You might have heard at some point in your life that you have a guardian angel. That could certainly be true because, like ghosts, there's absolutely no evidence that proves or disproves the reality of anything supernatural or paranormal. In the case of this young child in the baby seat, there might be photographic evidence of his or her guardian angel. In the picture, you can make out what looks to be a ghostly hand reaching down and touching his head. No one was smoking at the time, and no dust was around the scene, so the mother claims that this is definitely not just a glitch in the photo and is actual proof of something much more mysterious. Some would like to believe that it's proof of the child's guardian angel, however, others aren't so optimistic. The baby looks as though something might be touching it too. What do you think? 11. Someone caught on a night cam. The photograph above is a screen grab from a security camera that had been set up outside someone's home. The homeowners had constantly heard frightening noises and strange activity throughout the night, so they decided to set up some cameras in hopes of catching the culprit. What they ended up catching was the figure of a small child running through the night. For many of the pictures on the list, you could say that the ghostly figures are just reflections or oddly shaped pieces of furniture and that there's actually nothing really there. When it comes to this photograph, however, there's no denying that this is the figure of a child. What else could it possibly be if not a ghost of a kid? If it were a real child, it wouldn't have such a transparent appearance and probably wouldn't be out so late at night. What on earth do you think it could be? 10. Ghost evidence when no one believed her. The woman in the photograph above had claimed for some time that her house was haunted. Many people say this, but most around them don't believe the ghost stories they have to tell. That was true for the woman in the photograph. Strange things occurred in her house, and she often heard noises when no one else was home. It's hard to prove that your house is haunted seeing as how ghosts don't easily communicate with the living. After her husband snapped the picture of her and her dog in the photograph above, the woman suddenly became much more believable. It looks like any other ordinary photograph, but if you look at the reflection in the door behind the woman, something sinister is staring back. It's kind of difficult to see, but you can actually make out a face in the window on the door. 9. A child in the Amityville house. One of the most haunted houses that exist in America today has to be the Amityville house. Tales of the dead lurking throughout this home actually inspired a huge franchise known as the Amityville Horror. Before this house became such a deadly location, it was home to a man, his wife, and their children. The story goes that the man became insane one night and killed every member of his family, including himself. Since then, their spirits have allegedly haunted the home and terrorized anyone else who lives there. This photograph was taken in the home during the time when not a single child was anywhere in the house. In the photograph, however, you can definitely see a little boy staring right back. The photograph was taken by paranormal investigators and serves as evidence that the rumors about the Amityville house might be true. 8. Someone lurking in the hall. The photograph above was posted on Instagram by a news anchor after she had thrown a party one night. One of her friends pulled out a guitar and started singing and playing, so she pulled out her phone to record it all. Later, while going through the pictures and videos, she spotted something terrifying in the background that completely horrified her. Someone else was in her house besides just the partygoers. You can see a young boy peeking his head around the corner to get a front row seat to the show. Some speculate that she posted the photograph to social media and faked the whole thing just to help her rise as a news anchor star. Others think that this is undoubtedly proof that her house is as haunted as she says it is. What do you think the boy in the photograph might be? Is it evidence that something's going on in her house, or is it just another attempt at making something go viral? 7. A ghostly figure in an abandoned house. The photograph above was taken at an abandoned house that has been rumored to be haunted. No one knows the exact story of what happened to the last people to live in the home and whether or not there was a truly horrifying event that occurred there that may have brought the ghosts in the first place is yet to be decided. One thing is for certain, however, someone is standing in the doorway of this run-down building. There had been rumors that the house may host some ghosts, but when it comes to abandoned houses, everyone is going to say that because abandoned houses are just creepy even without having a horror story behind them. Sometimes, we may think we see a ghost when really, it's just a piece of oddly shaped furniture. When it comes to this figure, however, very little can be said as to what it might be if not a ghost. 6. A figure in the dust. The photograph above was taken by a homeowner who was, at the time, working on renovating a house they had just purchased. They were in the middle of cleaning up and renovating the basement when they decided to snap a photograph to show some of the progress that was being made. Since it was a bit of a rundown house, and there was a lot of dirt and dust to be accounted for, it makes sense that there's a lot of dust creating smoke-like clouds in the photograph. The thing that doesn't make sense, however, is the shape of the dust. If you look closely in the foggy area, you can see that the dust seems to form a man's shape. Before this photo was snapped, the homeowners hadn't reported any paranormal activity as they had just moved in. However, after seeing this photograph, they'll definitely have their guard up. Do you think it's just a picture of dust, or is something more sinister hidden in the clouds? 5. Something more than just a silly picture. The photograph above was taken by a girl who wanted to capture her little cousins while they were playing. What she ended up catching instead was some potential paranormal activity behind the little boy. When you look to the left of the boy, you can make out a black and gray figure that can't really be identified. The girl claims that this figure was not there and that no one else was home at the time beside her and the two children in the picture. The thing that makes this photograph stand out from the rest is how different the figure behind the boy is. It's not clearly in the shape of a human or animal, but it's still capturing something that wasn't actually there in the first place. This is definitely one of the most baffling photographs on the list, also making it the most mysteriously disturbing. 4. Real estate picture gone wrong. The photograph above was a picture taken from a real estate website that had listed the house for sale. The house had actually been foreclosed for reasons not posted. Because of the foreclosure, the house wasn't in the best state. It was rather run down and needed a lot of work, so the house was on the market for quite some time. Aside from the appearance and damages to the house, there might be another reason why this terrifying real estate was so difficult to sell. If you look at the front door, it appears that in the left area of the opening, there's a girl with long dark hair staring sinisterly back at the camera. Perhaps she's someone who had died in the house before the foreclosure, or potentially a squatter whose soul was left behind. Either way, this is definitely not the most flattering picture to use to sell the house. 3. A house on the ghostly market. The photograph above is another picture of a house on the market that caused some fear in potential buyers. After viewing the house, two people who were in the market for buying a new home decided to snap some pictures to help them remember what the house looked like. What they actually got was evidence that the house might not be as vacant as they had thought. If you look at the left side of the third window on the second floor, you can make out what looks to be a figure standing in the window. Some might speculate that it's just the way the reflection and the screen are and that it's all just a trick of the mind. Others would definitely say that this had to be something terrifying and a creepy warning sign not to buy the house. Would you still purchase this home after accidentally catching a potential ghost in the window? 2. More than just Halloween decorations. The photograph above was taken by a man who wanted to capture his Halloween decorations. During the Halloween season, this homeowner decided to surprise his wife and kids by transforming their home into a haunted house for the holiday. He decorated their front yard while no one was home in hopes of brightening his family's day when they returned. Everything was decorative, except for the figure that you can barely make out in the door. The father stated that he had not seen anyone in the doorway and that the house was 100% empty when he took the photograph. What was meant to just be a way to capture a decorative haunted house actually turned into something paranormal. Do you think it's real evidence of something paranormal, or just a dad trying to get more attention for his decorations? 1. A Christmas nightmare. The photograph above is the second on our list of catching another uninvited guest to a holiday party. Everything looks like a normal Christmas get-together until you look right at the middle of the photograph and see some feet in front of the pile of presents. Some critics of the photograph state that the feet probably belonged to the child by the chair and was a glitch in the camera that captured some motion action. However, the people who took the photograph claim that the boy was wearing socks, so the bare feet could not have possibly been his. They are also larger than you would expect the boy to have, so whether or not they are his cannot be said for certain. If you were a ghost, it'd make sense you'd want to join in on the holiday festivities, but since we know so little about the afterlife, who knows what ghosts' intentions may be.